Right, we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. Who would have thought that overnight it's just getting worse and worse for crypto out here? Fear and greed finally getting to fear levels, reaching just into it now. You know, below 20 is fear. Now we just need one more lower push in the price, with fear printing a higher price or a higher measurement. Currently at 20. Generally, these things last about 30 days, so we should actually just wait for the mid part of this month to analyze where, if the market wants to turn around here. Yeah, let's cover some of the price action overnight, and it was quite terrible. I mean, look at this, down 7% overnight for BTC, although this happened during the day for me. Everybody's different, right? I mean, there's not much to cover here, except we did cover higher time frames and breakout points, and all of these have pretty much now, you know, broken those levels, and now we simply just need closes at these levels. So on the monthly, still a lot of time left, right? For this candle to close, 25 days for this candle to close. So unless it can close above 108.269, the monthly shows a breakdown, right? Clear M, clear lower highs, lower lows. The candlestick chart, though, is a different story. Weekly, same story here. Break, quite a decisive break here at 103. This will easily, I think, trade above this level in the next 4 days. But you don't want to see candles start rejecting here, right? At the 135, 130 level. The line chart's a different story. It's a little bit higher. Everybody is looking at this 108 region, so 108, 684. You need the weekly to close above that for this incredibly bearish structure to confirm here. It is quite interesting, as this has been, you know, the AI narrative that's been pushing, well, that's the narrative that's been pushing this thing higher. For example, NVIDIA over here, candlesticks, if we look on the daily, even these things are starting to roll over, which is quite interesting, as, I mean, Palantir just came out with incredible profits, and that is typical of the top of cycles, where even the best narrative or the strongest narrative even has really good news coming in, and the market, just look at this, Palantir down 7%, almost 8% on incredibly good news, right? I think record-breaking profits are somewhere above $1 billion in profits. Revenue accelerated for the 9th consecutive quarter, soaring 121% to 400 million. Okay, so not billions, but I mean, in 3 months they've made billions. So, you know, let's pull up the Palantir. I mean, this is terribly ugly. I mean, that's the market smiling at you here on NVIDIA. Just to recap, the stock market tends to top out after BTC does. So these things soaring to all-time highs, or soaring from high to high, while BTC fails to put all-time highs, is pretty much the same as to what happens in previous cycles. Let's pull up Palantir here. I mean, if you bought Palantir, you would have pretty much outperformed most cryptocurrencies. Look at this, like from the lows here. That's a 3,000% gain in an AI company. Pretty insane, a 34x. Not many cryptocurrencies have done that, right? And I mean, it's opening here. This is incredibly good news. And it's just funny, like when BTC bottomed, right? This bottomed on the FTX collapse here. On the worst news possible, and that was your low. And markets, top on extreme euphoria on really, really good news. And this is the top narrative of this cycle, right? The AI boom. For context, analysts estimate called for a revenue of $1 billion and adjusted, so Palantir eclipsed expectations with room to spare. For the third quarter revenue, it was 1.1 billion, accelerated 60 over the year. So incredible profits, but it's just not the market is just fading it. Total, this is like the altcoins removed the USDC's market cap and then divided by the BTC. So this is practically the altcoins versus Bitcoin. And I have it marked here. I got this from Ben Cohen. That, before all these insane rallies, and this is pretty much where everybody is coming from when they enter crypto these days, is because some altcoin has just been doing like crazy gains, like 100% gains on 100% gains every day. But what is interesting is that these things don't happen unless it has come to this 0.25 area. And I mean, there's not time left for this to happen in this cycle. Unless we have like an insane rally in the bear market for altcoins. If Bitcoin has stopped here, which it happened in the 7th of October, the next bear market ends literally at this line here, right about here. So it's not even, it doesn't even look that far away, right? If this wants to go ahead and just freaking finish this downtrend, form up there and then go, that's looks much more likely, because this structure here, that's extremely ugly, and wicks and tails like to be filled, right? So it looks very, very plausible that this fills this entire wick. Not only fills this entire wick, but goes all the way to 0.25. So that's just the altcoins getting absolutely destroyed versus BTC even further. There's nothing here, right? This is a clear downtrend and a massive inefficiency here. All of this liquidity, like people had orders here on their altcoins, right? Obviously you can't trade the spare, but for each coin, that was trading on exchanges, there were people here that wanted to buy these things, like at each level, and all of them had their orders filled. These guys that got their orders filled, I wouldn't, if they're savvy investors, they're taking profits at these levels because they've had these major bounces, like instant profits, like literally in a few minutes they're in profits. For them not to shave off some would be rather foolish, and they would be pretty savvy investors if they had limit orders on these levels here. So that puts kind of a wrench in the works, because there's no one left here to buy because all of these guys had their orders filled. So that is why wicks and tails like to get filled. As the market quickly goes and fills all of those orders, comes back, those guys are in profits, and this happens to the upside and to the downside. They're in profits and they're selling it. This is them pushing it further down, and there's no more orders there to hold up the price to get filled, and that's why wicks and tails like to be eaten or just simply filled. This is slightly concerning, as the raw materials, these are the Bloomberg Commodity Index, like this is in a clear breakout here, And this signals front or it's like front running inflation a little bit here, because if your raw materials get more expensive, everything else, these people need to buy these things to build products, and it's starting to get expensive here, and it's clearly breaking out. The other thing is that the dollar is incredibly strong here. This is the weekly, and this is if you put it on the line chart, it's a clear breakout. The daily looks even better. Like, it's now clearly breaking out here. So if you're holding another currency, switching to the dollar for a little bit is probably a good idea. If you're holding pounds or euros or whatever. But you'd have to analyze each of those forex on their own chart. Let's actually take a look at the euro. Right, it's the exact opposite, right? Lower highs and lower lows. No, that's a clear downtrend. The daily, it looks as wonky with the V top as the dollar does with its V bottom. But once again, the line chart is, that's incredibly toppy. And that's the market once again smiling at you and wants to take your money. So this does not spell well for risk assets, right? This the dollar. Everybody flees to the dollar, right, when it's showing strength. Gold. This was the macro top for gold. I'm pretty sure in saying that. And this is that typical liquidity argument. That there was so much liquidity in the market, and all of these things that needs a lot of liquidity and lots of cash to push it up has performed well. And I mean, Bitcoin is the exact same thing. There's no real fundamental. There's no revenue from this, right? So the only thing pushing this up is speculation and liquidity. And the gold and Bitcoin is the perfect vehicle for that cash to go to. And it's just, it looks terrible. The dollar incredibly strong. The ES here, this is on multiple days of green or red now, if you measure it like that. Let's pull up a channel here. I think this actually fell out of its channel recently. Slowly just fell out of it. Now retesting the bottom of it and collapsing again. And these are more than 3 days down, and when you get 3 days down in the stock market or any asset, actually, it does show that there's going to be an extended consolidation here. It doesn't have to be at the top, but it doesn't look great, right? Maybe, you're not getting the information from the government in the US, like all the figures that the market needs. And Trump is, he said the maybe word. He said that they might not cut rates in the next one, and that spells trouble for the market. The fund managers can't do anything with maybe, and they might just sell. Another one which isn't great is tether dominance. The amount of stable coins, and I know they're constantly printing more and more tether, but this is, it doesn't get more perfect than this, right? There's a multiple. We can go really into lower time frames there. Higher lows here, higher highs breaking out. This is perfect market structure for this to move higher. And there are an incredible amount of stable coins, and we can just see that with price action. The retracements aren't even that deep anymore. Stable coins have really, have found their place in this market. I think it's probably the coolest thing in crypto. And that does not mean PDI goes to $1. I think that if you're falling for that narrative, it's pretty ridiculous. They just have to make up new stories every week, and I just laugh. Some of the people I respected the most fell for narrative, And I'm a chart guy. I don't, men lie, women lie, but the charts don't lie. I don't trust others. And we came into crypto, crypto is antitrust, getting rid of middlemen. Quantitative easing is not a guaranteed. I see this, I even read a post this morning that quantitative tightening is ending, and that spells quantitative easing should start. They can leave it neutral for a very, very long time. It doesn't mean they have to start buying treasuries here, adding more liquidity to the market. It's all priced in already, because otherwise the market will continue going higher. I don't want to go too much into the TA of things. I think it's pretty clear that we need to see weekly and monthly closes. The daily, you've lost a lot of market structure here, and unless you might just see a bounce here because these indicators are most likely incredibly oversold. Let's just see. They're not really even. They're starting to print bullish back here. But probably traders will probably be looking for longs here. This is way, way too late to start shorting this here. You would at least need a bounce to start looking for shorts. If you're looking at 4-hour time zones, you're looking at this 106 area maybe to short. Because the market never just goes down straight down. This has to be a very, very quick move to the upside, create some bearish divergences, hidden bearish divergences on these indicators, and then roll over. Is it already creating some bear divs? So not yet. It does have a little bit more room to go before this rolls over. Let's look at some of the altcoins. BTCD. This is probably the last leg. This is like the complacency bounce for Bitcoin dominance. We'll see where this stops out. Maybe it just fills the entire week and then rolls over finally. But that could just mean altcoins underperforming BTC to the downside, because many of these altcoins have done absolutely nothing. Especially these that are measured in the dominance. I don't know where they get their market. They most probably get it from CoinMarketCap, from these top coins, from the top 100 coins. 7-day gainers. Dash. I tweeted about Dash and Zcash like literally at their breakout levels. But I thought that this would probably carry over to some other things. Even Decred is rallying. All of these freaking ancient coins. DCR. Oh yeah, this is just the liquidity grab. This is why you always have sell orders ready to go. And then Dash. Dash rallying after Zcash. Clear W's at the bottom here, hey? Let's just draw that in. Higher lows, and then when this higher high breaks, it's off to the races. Boom. If you got this at 25, there's your first double, second double. It's still pretty mediocre gains. Like, if you didn't accumulate to these lows, and really it was like a month's chance from June, okay, a few months. Decred, ZK Sync, Internet Computer, Zcash, Monero, okay, Zcash, ICP. What's ICP doing? Oh man, these things, there's nothing here. Just absolutely wrecked. And look at that liquidation event, all the way to $1. Pretty crazy. Let's look at the top gainers today on Bubbles. These are probably pretty much just oversold bounces. XPL, Aster is up 10%. It's actually because I think I don't know if I want to buy Aster pretty much anytime soon. Maybe a little bit later. Yeah, I mean that's ugly. Go to new lows. Let's go to Aster over here on the decentralized exchange. Let's look at it. Up 14%. There's nothing here. There was some divergences, but there's no market structure here. Maybe these things do good in the next cycle, but either way. Anything else? XLP. That is Plasma Chain XLP. These guys are backed by. Oh, they're not trading. XPL. Backed by the Tether Foundation. I mean, that's ugly. People made millions on this, farming this airdrop. But that's the thing. If you got $1 million airdrop, you know, how are you not taking profits on this? You're down on that bag. I mean, but it's free, right? Already 83%. How quickly was that? How many days? From the high to where we are now. 38 bars, a little bit more than a month. I just don't know, like how do you give people so much free money and your chart ever recovers from something like this? You're going to have years and years and years of selling. It's much like what Pulse Chain has. Like it looks a lot like that SEC dip on Pulse Chain. Like it gave people a lot of free coins, especially like freaking rich. The richest people got the most. The whales got the most. Lucky Luke, what's up, Diego? Berk meets on X. Thanks for your service. It's a pleasure. Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered pretty much anything that is interesting. Solana, I mean, everything has taken a massive hit overnight. Total has pretty much hit my target here. Total 2. Total 3. Oof, this is ugly, eh? Where's our reload zones for these things? Like if you were asking, you know, where should I buy altcoins? This is where you should be buying altcoins, in the reload zone. No, not up here. This is not where value is at. I mean, for months and months and months, we have not been in value. Like maybe down here in August of 22. You know, you can do the same with Total. You know, Hans, where should I buy crypto? You should be buying crypto when this is in the reload zone, you know, at 2 trillion. Not here, where this is not where value is at, right? And that's how you keep yourself safe. Total 3. Once again, if you really want to go down into the depth of shitcoinery, this is where you should be interested in buying these things. Not at $1 trillion, like at $500 billion. That's where value is at for these things. And it doesn't matter which coin it is, because pretty much, you know, this is just a liquidity game. Like there's a lot of money coming to crypto, but you should be getting it when it's like cheap, not when it's expensive. Nothing pretty much yet for Pulse Chain. Once again, this is a V bottom. You've ran these lows. There's, if you're bullish, you know, you need to see a retracement to at least these candle closes, you know, and get a W before being interested in this. I'm pretty sure there are some divergences firing at these lows. Yeah, so a lot of divergences, but they're not confirmed yet. So a W first, and then you go. And if you want to be really, really patient, and you've never really bought Pulse Chain at all, you know, the number one rule in any asset is you have to wait for this downtrend, the other side of the downtrend. And we've just been getting rejected at these levels. If you go to the daily, we can pull it up on the daily. Let's pull it up on the daily. it looks different on each time frame. Oh, it looks exactly the same. I don't know. Let's do this on the deck screener pair. This is going to look different. Yeah, you see how it's like sliding, like keeps getting rejected at these levels. Now, again, it's just trading above it now. So just to finish off that thought is, if you want to be really safe in assets, is you wait for a W on the other side of the downtrend. So higher lows and higher highs on the weekly time frame. That's how you stay safe. And we've never really had that, right? I don't know when this happens. We haven't really had the sustained rally like above SAC rate. So I'm pretty, very few people are on strong profits. So what I'm trying to say is I don't know how far they can push this down, or if people are willing to sell this low and push it down even further. But pretty much if you want to be extremely safe, it doesn't have to run the lows. We can be a little less aggressive like that. But then again, the traders will trade these swings, right? I'll definitely be trading them, and so there's still money to be made. You don't have to but that's very, very difficult. It is not easy, and you get stopped out a lot. Take 5% losses a lot, and then you hit like maybe a 80 or 100% trade once in a while. But it takes time. I mean, not even the 4-hour looks that great just yet. And I keep, banging on about this, but I caution against rich or hard pumping this, like, if there's so many people that still want out on this thing. Yeah, so you can obviously see that this downtrend has been a massive struggle for this asset. So, let it spend some time on the other side of this downtrend. We're pretty close, to this actually happening. And I think most people probably look at this chart on Deck Screener. But I watched Ivan on Tech the other day, and I pretty much agree that if you don't have this pair saved on TradingView, it's pretty hard to find it, right? So the way you find it, and if you're gonna ask for suggestions from technical analysts to cover this, you have to tell them to search for the WPLS pair. Otherwise, they're never gonna find it. They're gonna type in pulse chain. If they type in the full pulse chain name, it seems like it does come up, and that is in fact the right one. But if you give them the ticker PLS, they're not going to find it. They're going to scroll down here, and they're going to have no idea what to look for. So give them the WPLS pair. And people are going to be hesitant to click on that thing. Anyway, just tell them the WPLS pair, and it's the first one that comes up. Let's quickly look at the cryptos. Let's go for exchange types, dexes, all types, all sources. You can actually find PulseX, all the PulseX pairs trading here. Let's look at PulseX. There's going to be some nice divergences at these levels here. I mean, 9 already firing. Let's go to the weekly. Nothing there quite yet. Getting pretty oversold here. But it's not the worst chart. You're still holding these lows, PulseX really hasn't broken down from, all the way back here, and it's defended that lows for a long time. But we don't want to start losing these levels, And if you have another year's consolidation throughout the bear market, this is going to set up very, very nicely for another a rally, a very, very strong rally in the next bull market. If crypto doesn't altogether disappear, which I don't think is going to happen. It's quite interesting that, I mean, the sentiment you see now is pretty much the sentiment that you see at the lows of the markets. Like in BTC, where they call BTC dead. They're pretty much calling altcoins like dead and a waste of time. But it has been a waste of time. Once again, we have this downtrend, Pulse X, it has some time left to go, still until it starts trading on the other side of the downtrend. Let's look at the downtrend on DEX Screener. It's weird that these, it's still not there, although it tried to push through and just got rejected. Let's look at the ratio. If this ratio is not in the reload zone, we can't be interested in it. No, still needs to go. Let's actually, can I find the WPLAC area? Oh man, I wish I can, maybe I should, no, I can't do that. What I want to do is I want to see that if Pulse X goes down, is that from February the 28th, is that a risk on or a risk off situation? February 28th, so somewhere from here. It's pretty much just, we've just been moving sideways really, down technically. So it is when this Pulse X ratio is a good indication of risk off. If people are gambling, if this goes down, people aren't willing to take a risk on Pulse Chain. If it's rallying, it means people are willing to take risks. Because this is like the altcoins. This is like the ETH to the BTC on the Pulse Chain ecosystem. And this is some nice consolidation here, just moving sideways here. Although it's not as deep as I would have loved it to be, to make me interested in this. Let's look at Hex. Yeah, I mean, this downtrend has, it's a lot more complex, right? Because it went that high. This is probably Richard Hart swapping some PLS for Hex here to fix this ratio a little bit. But he likes to rally things off lows. I think it's him trying to, it's actually an interesting thought. Because he doesn't like rallying things off market structure. He rallies them off the V bottoms, because that's kind of tricks the market. Because sustainable or good market structure, looks like W's, higher lows and higher lows, like I just showed you on Dash and on Zcash and all of those ancients. But that is actually a good way to trick the market. But there were still people that were trying to come out here, and now you're just giving them a chance to sell a little bit higher and exit more easily. A PLS ratio, it's just above value, it just needs to underperform PLS a lot more, It's given you a few chances, but it wasn't pretty. I think EX is probably the most in-value token. We are still a little bit high. No bullish divergence yet. Let's what's EX doing on the, what's this downtrend looking like? Oh, this is even more complicated. A lot of work to do. It's literally at its range lows now. What's the RSI doing? Is this oversold? Not at all. I mean, it's at 43. It's quite high. It's not great, eh? Ink. I saw this was at $1 yesterday. So still holding that low. And then obviously the ultimate low. You know, I don't see how this does not come full this entire inefficiency here, because this is called a fair value gap. This is most likely once again Richard Hart rallying this with PLS. You don't have to inject DAI here. You can just trade the PLS that you currently hold for this. I don't know, I'm just speculating. I don't have any concrete information about that. What's the ratio looking like? So still a little bit high. I mean, this looks scary, you know. There's nothing that happened here. The only thing that we have is that small little W. It looks the same as the USD pair. Let's look at some of the top trending tokens and see if there's anything interesting here. Right off the bat, right, this is done amazing. This is probably the best performing altcoin or meme coin on Pulse Chain. This has done the most gains, more than 10,000x gains. Let's measure this. Where did it open at? Started at 0 or what? How many? That's 900, almost 1,000x. But if you, I'm pretty sure if you measure it from the pump tires low, that'll give you a 10,000x. Pretty insane. No, not even most or pump like the richer altcoins have performed that well. But this is dangerous, right? Chasing something up here. Like, let's look at the RSI. I mean, someone tried to exit yesterday and exited a lot. Like a lot of weakness here. But this was the first high that that started the divergence here. And then the second high here, which just means unless the market trades below those levels, this bearish divergences are just bullish pretty much. Dump your EX so I can buy more. Yeah, do that. I don't know if selling it down there is a good idea, especially if you've been accumulating it for such a long time. You are selling the lows. Like if you've been dollar costing averaging these highs, you know. If you look at the PLS pair, let's see if it's going to be weakness here as well, and we'll just plot that divergence line. It actually made a higher high there, so it's cancelled to that divergence. But if you just do a simple Fib analysis tool, you just know that this is not where value is at. Like we bought these lows down here. I didn't get into this at the start at all, but I did buy these bottoms, and I've been selling all the way up here. So that's Peacock. That's been the best performers for quite a while. SCADA, I've seen this. But you do risk, these are the highs. These are just lower highs all the way down. It's clearly not in value, right? Value for this is in the 61.8. Maybe if you wanted to buy some there, you could have almost gotten a double, but not yet. I think this is like a tax token or something. I mean, there's really nothing here. It can just literally reverse here and come all the way down to at least to this green line, if not more to this previous accumulation range. And if we do a volume analysis on this to see where most of this were bought, because this is not a pump tires token, this was launched right off the bat. Most of the trading has happened here now. Maybe we should just pull it to the high. Yeah, look, this is where most of the value was traded here. So most people that accumulated this are in profits. And that's a long way down. It just tells you that when this comes down back here, people will defend their entry over here. But they're selling pretty much, and maybe they'll look at this and find value down here. But the vast majority of the buyers was way down here. And they're up lots. What's this? $1 million market cap. Let's look at these holders. Now look at the supply on this thing. So that's the contract address, which holds 33%, or the liquidity pool. It is a contract. I don't know if it is. It's most likely an LP. And then this guy. I mean, can we paste this into to see how much this is worth? I don't know if. Fucking hell, it can't be. No. Maybe we can see on swap when. No, it just shows a percentage. Oh, this is the dev. The dev holds. Oh. We can actually see the value here of this guy's tokens. So he's got double worth at the buy side. So he can pretty much drain the LP pool on his own. He's good. Well, he can do it twice. Huh. Let's see if he has sold any. No, that's not his address. Let's see here. I mean, I've shown you guys how to do a really good analysis on tokens that you want to buy. He's only bought once, so he's given himself most of this tokens and hasn't sold any just yet. So if you're comfortable with him having that much, I don't know if this guy is public or what's up with that. Yeah, check out Yuri Nuke the Supply. Okay, so this is the dev. No idea who he is. I've never ever seen him. He doesn't follow me, so it doesn't mean anything, right? You don't need to follow me to know something. I mean, generally, I've been around for quite a while, so if I check people's profile, they generally follow me. We'll see what you guys are saying. Not much. Scar, I remember this is boring. Ads. X game. I did say that I think this comes back to the accumulation range, and it's like still 50% more to go. 66% more way to go. Let's quickly do a volume analysis on this to see where. I don't know. It doesn't look right at all. It's just a very quick move, right? And a quick exit, just like that. Grimface, a beetroot shell. This is pretty much done, right? This is not a good meme at all. It's just because Richard Hart tweeted it. But either way, if you really love this, I mean, it's been bouncing off the 61.8 a few times, you know. Buy small percentages at each level, you know. That's just what I do. But I'm good enough to wait for W's inside the reload zone. 200k market cap. It's actively breaking down, like as we look at it. Then PHEN. This did give you a chance to get in. I did take a look at this, yeah. It was just slightly above value, but if you put it on the line chart, I mean, it's just such a quick move, it's just going to come right back. Yeah, somebody fell on his sword with PN. Dude, I don't know, I don't understand it. He's been very level-headed. And I don't know how he fell for that. Unless he's getting paid. Like, I don't know. I don't understand it. DevC, I mean, this is all based on one guy. The Dev Young, what's his name? It goes to Liberty Swap. Okay. Anyway, this is not really a good meme at all. Everybody just partners with Liberty Swap, sends them a lot of supply. I mean, it's technically a breakout. I just, these indicators are going to be very high already. I'd rather sit all day and look for something cool on pump tires before buying something like this that it's already gone through a major cycle. I mean, if you guys have any coin requests that you want me to take a look at, we used to find really cool tokens from people suggesting it on here. But it's just the Austrian market is so boring now. Like, this is very high already on a very small move. I do have some of this. I think I bought it down there somewhere. Anyway, how long has this been? This has been like 46 minutes. I think we've covered enough. Pretty much to summarize it, the overall market it does not look healthy. Not only crypto, I mean, oh my word, let's look at SPX. I mean, this was probably the top meme coin. No, but this can't be. Like, how's it up on the day? I mean, this is finally rolling over. This has just been continuing to go higher and higher and higher. This was Murat's top holding. This is now finally getting absolutely destroyed. Yeah, and this is like all of these meme coins are literally going to go back to zero. Like back to these levels down here. In the bear market, because there's nothing here. And next cycle there's going to be new meme coins. I just hope, we'll see how it unfolds the next cycle. What is cool then? I just don't hope it's meme coins again. It's probably most likely going to be meme coins again, because many of these, those narratives we talked about during the cycle, that all of these tokens, utility tokens, are incredibly overvalued. Like, VCs get these things, insiders get these things for pennies on the dollar. What is the likelihood EX hits that 886 per million level, on your opinion? I'm not quite sure that... Oh, the 886. Oh, per million. Oh, this level down here. You know what? We're practically retesting this breakout level here. Yeah, I have no idea what pair, or if you're talking about the PLS ratio or if you're talking about USD value. This bottom level here. No, it should not trade below that level. It shouldn't even get close to it. No. But if BTC needs to do a full retracement in the bear market, if this market top is in, what are altcoins going to do? Because this is what these retracements look like in a year's time. Like, they come back to their reload zones, and I could show you from previous cycles as well. You see it trades inside the reload zone, and even below the 78.6. And I'm factoring in diminishing, because we had diminishing returns to the upside, which would say logically we would assume that the downsides get less as well. So not all the way to the 78.6 level, but at least into the reload zone. What are altcoins going to do here? They should underperform BTC to the downside, or go down less than BTC while all of this happens, because they haven't had these relatively good gains. But even the gains on BTC has been kind of lackluster the cycle. But we can't expect this to continue doing like insanely good every single time. You would have thought that we would at least go to the 2.618. Like, look what we've done in previous cycles. Just removing that quickly. Like the previous cycle, we came all the way to the 4 extension, like literally to the 4th extension. This cycle, we didn't even come to the 2.618. We slightly went above the 1.618. Yeah, we didn't even make it to the 2.618. So next cycle, we would expect, like, let's say we do come to these. Let me just look at this quickly. Let's say we do come to this level. We bottom out there at 46k. Then it can gives us our measurement for the next move. So we should at least see, I mean, then we're not even going to see 175 for the top for the next cycle. If we factor in those the FIB extensions getting lower and lower and lower. Like, honestly, we probably do need that last rally to 155. And if we do get the 155, let's say, like, here. Let's say we peak out at 155 by the end of this year. This will be a much better retracement. Now ignore the time frame there, right? Just ignore the time frame. It still brings you down to like 55k. Then we can do a FIB extension from here. Then the 1.618 is at least at 200,000. It's going to take multiple cycles for Bitcoin to get to $1 million. Hopefully I'm wrong with that analysis. I wouldn't mind being wrong with that. That is why people chase altcoin gains. But still, the best thing to do is to have the majority of your investing portfolio. Firstly, in indexes, that is the least risky thing, and that's the S&P. And then the next higher up the risk curve is buying the Nasdaq. And then higher up on the risk curve is stock picking. Now, you can absolutely get wrecked in stock picking because you can pick the wrong stock. You might be in love with some kind of a narrative or some stock and still be wrong. Right? And then you get further into the risk curve because you're picking Bitcoin. Bitcoin is practically a stock by now. And then higher up on the risk curve is probably BTC companies buying BTC stocks. And then higher up on the risk curve is altcoins. So the vast majority of your portfolio should be like stocks, at least, or at the minimum 85%. And then you have 15% to gamble on stock picking and Bitcoin, and then maybe 5%. So 10% in BTC and 5% in altcoins. And then you're taking profits from altcoins into BTC. That's what probably a good long-term one can be. And if you're younger, you can take more risk. But as you get older, or the older you are, the risk you should be taking on these things. And if you are an older guy or girl and you have a nice stock portfolio, then you're pretty much free to gamble on these things, And no one wants to hear that. Though Solana was going to the moon. Yeah, you bought Aster, but the price went down. Though Solana was going to the moon. Yeah, but Solana, I don't know what happened on this chart. I mean, this was straight up, from death to... And if this bear market is in, and Solana's going to come right back to this level, to $27. That's my target for the bear market. I don't know if the top is in just yet, It does look incredibly, and it will be practically confirmed if you trade below 100. I mean, if it goes below 95 and trades below it, it's going to go straight to 27, as quick as it ran up here. It's just straight red down, because there's no market structure here. It's just straight up. This is a market inefficiency. Always look left. You see how quickly it went down here? It went just as quickly up there. So, you know, if Solana has another meme coin craze in the next cycle, it's probably a good idea to pick some up here, because you're gonna get it down there. I should probably sell my Solana. Alright guys, I hope you learned something. Remember to always play from a position of strength. Please don't get wrecked. Crypto is extremely risky, and yeah, the cycle has proven it. Cheers for